So last class we have completed with the essentials of the contract. Today we'll be starting the classification of contract. Classification is based on three. One is validity, one is formation, and the other one is performance. Validity, we have 5 different types of contract: valid contract, void, voidable, illegal, and unenforceable. Under formation, we have express, implied, and quasi contract. Under performance, we have executed contract, executory, and 2 different types of executors: unilateral and bilateral. The first one, it is based on formation. So how does a contract come into picture? How is it formed? First one, express contract. What is an express contract? It is the contract where the terms are made clear either in the terms of writing or orally at the time of entering into the contract. So if I'm going to, for example, I'm going to tell you, I want to sell my house at rupees 5 lakh. So I am orally telling you. So I am expressing my desire to have a contract with you. Or I am writing down, or I am making an agreement stating that I want to sell to a particular person his name, this house having this details, location details, etc. on so and so price. That is called as express contract. I am expressing it orally or in a written format. The second type of contract is implied, which is neither party will use words to indicate that the contract has been formed. So I neither will tell you orally, directly to you that I want to have a contract, but it is understood between us as a mutual consent that we are entering into a contract. Example, now let's say at usually railway stations, what happens, there are people or there are coolies who take up your luggage carried from the train door to the exit of the railway station, right? Now he does not ask your permission, neither do you ask him. He just comes, voluntarily picks up the luggage and then drops it to the exit of the railway station. So it is understood for you to that you have to pay for the work he has done. Neither have you asked him to pick up the luggage, nor as he asked you, or there is no any kind of expression between both the parties, but the work has been performed. So it is understood that the person has to pay for the work done by the other party. That is called as implied contract. There is no words used, but it is a understanding between both the parties. Number 3, quasi-contract. What is the meaning? There is no intention on the either side to make a contract, but the law imposes a contract without offer and acceptance. So here in quasi-contract, remember, the person might not ask you to enter into the contract. There absolutely from both the parties no intention to create a contract, but then the law imposes. The law comes into the picture and imposes both the parties to perform the contract even without the offer and acceptance. Such contracts are called as quasi-contracts. Let's look at an example. Now Mr. X is a merchant who by mistake leaves his goods or leaves his commodities or products at the house of Mr. Y. So Y, instead of returning the goods or commodities to Mr. X, what he does is he uses the goods for his own personal purpose. That means he has accepted the goods. That is why he is using it for own personal purpose. Now it is understood that X didn't want to sell it to Y, or Y didn't want it to buy from X, but nobody had the intention to create a contract. But by law, since Mr. Y has used the goods of Mr. X, he is bound to pay for the used goods. Understood? Both the parties are not having an intention to create a contract, but by law they are imposed to create or execute the contract. So Mr. Y, he could have returned the goods to Mr. X, but what has he done in this example? He has used the goods for his personal purpose. So when X is going to demand for the goods, because he has already accepted the goods or used the goods, he will only pay for the usage of goods. Understood? So this is called as a quasi-contract. These are the only 3 different contracts which are based on formation: express, implied, and quasi-contract. Second one is based on validity or enforceability. How can I execute the contract? First is how can I form the contract? Now how can I enforce it? Now here the first one is valid contract. Now what is a valid contract? Now we studied earlier, right? Essential elements of a valid contract. We looked at almost 10 points over there, right? Now all those points has to be present for a contract to be valid. A contract which satisfies all legal requirements laid down in the act are present. That is an offer, an acceptance, etc. All these elements are present and both the parties have not backed out. They've completely fulfilled their promises according to their rights or obligations. So I agree to sell my furniture to you at rupees 5 lakh. I've sold my furniture and you have paid the price of the furniture rupees 5 lakh to me. So both of us have completely executed. The object is valid, the consideration is valid, there is offer, there is acceptance, there is everything that is contained in the Indian Contract Act. Therefore it is called as valid contract. Second one, void contract. That's just the opposite of valid. A contract which is not enforceable by law. Remember what is a void contract? A contract which is not enforceable by law. When entered was valid, later becomes void because of impossibility of performance or change of law. So these void contracts, remember, initially when both the parties entered in the contract are not void. They were valid contracts. But over the period of time, it became impossible to perform. Did you remember one of the essential of the contract is possibility of performance? Got it? Now here if the performance is not possible, then the contract becomes void. Now let's look at why the contract is not possible to perform. The first reason can be supervening impossibility. Now let's say I have a contract with a merchant in Pakistan for I have to import goods from Pakistan, some kind of raw material from Pakistan. So I've already entered into the contract. Now after the contract is made, the very next day, right, India or Pakistan has declared war against each other. India has declared a war against Pakistan. So can I have a contract executed now? No. Import of goods from a foreign country will become supervening impossibility when the other country has become an enemy country or an alien country for our country or for our home country. So they cannot be import or they cannot be export from the country whom we have declared war against. So it is highly impossible to perform the contract. But remember, was it valid in the initial stage? Yes. Before declaring of the war, the contract was very much valid contract. Now because of the change in the law or because of the economic or the government decision, the contract became void. Second, subsequent illegality. Now that example can be government bans or prohibits after entering into the contract. Right? Now there is a certain law that is passed all of a sudden by the government. You cannot import these goods from so and so country. It is illegal or is it unlawful, etc. Government itself is going to put up rules and regulations after you enter into the contract with the other party. So that becomes void contract. Initially it was valid. Afterwards, after entering into the contract, because of the impossibility of the performance, contract becomes void. Hope you have understood both the meanings over here. What is valid contract and what is void contract. The third one is void agreements. Now remember, it's not contract, it is void agreement. It does not create any legal rights or obligations. Void ad initio, that is in the English common law it is called that way. It is void at the very beginning. The simple example is any agreement that you have with a minor is a void agreement. An agreement with a minor will never convert into a contract. Please remember that. Agreement with a minor will never become a valid contract. It is always a void agreement. When an agreement converts into consideration only becomes contract. Now here it is not happening, reason being the other party is a minor and the law prohibits you to enter into a contract with the minor. So that is completely void agreement. Let's look at the fourth one, voidable contracts. Meaning an agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one of the parties of the contract. Okay, so what is voidable contracts here is the agreement is entered by both the parties, okay, but the consent was not free. If you can remember, go back to your essentials of the valid contract, there was something called as free consent. That means consent was not taken by force, by misrepresentation or by fraudulent activities. Consent was absolutely willing, must be willing and volunteer. Got it? Now here the example, let's look at it. Consent of contract was not free. It was made by coercion. Coercion means by force or undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation. So I'm going to sell you a product and I'm forcing you to purchase that product. I'm forcing you because I'm you are an employee working under me. I am your boss. So by using that influence, I'm forcing you to enter into this contract. Maybe it can be a service contract or it can be just the purchase of a particular product. Is your consent free over there? No. You are not willing to enter into the contract, but because I am telling, as a boss is telling, and by force or by influence, I'm instructing you to enter into the contract, that is why you are entering into the contract. So that is a voidable contract. Number 5, unenforceable contract. It is a valid contract, but for certain technical defects like absence of proof, proper stamp, expiry of date, etc. becomes unenforceable. Now remember, the void contract and unenforceable contract, both of them at the beginning are valid contracts, but due to some technical difficulty over here, it becomes unenforceable. What can be the reasons for not executing it? It can be absence of proof. Now let's say, for example, I'm selling you my house. Okay, I'm selling a particular house to you, and you find out that the registration documents are absolutely not sufficient for as a proof, or the stamp paper that I've taken from the post office is not the proper one. I've taken a wrong stamp paper, okay, or the expiry date has been crossed over from the contract date, etc. So these are just what? Technical difficulties or technical challenges. Now here there's another example. A agrees to sell to B 100 kgs of rice for rupees 10,000, but there was a huge flood in the states and all the rice crops were destroyed. Now let's look at this scenario here. The rice crops are destroyed due to flood. It is not the mistake of A, it is not the mistake of B. It's just a natural event that has occurred that has affected both the parties A as well as B. The contract while entering is absolutely valid. All the terms and conditions are legal. It is a lawful object. The consent was free. The consideration was lawful, etc. Everything was valid. But then the technical difficulty here is what? Flood. Or it can be a natural consequence or a natural calamity that has destroyed the entire rice crops, and therefore B cannot or A cannot execute the contract by selling the 100 kgs of rice to Mr. B. Sixth one, illegal contract. Illegal contract is an agreement whose object is forbidden by law, fraudulent, implies injury to another person or property, immoral or opposed to public policy. Now remember here the word illegal. Now the moment you see that word illegal contract, you should understand it is something that is unlawful, something that Indian constitution or Indian government is not going to agree to it. Correct? Now in such cases, the contract cannot be executed. Why is the reason? Here I am talking about the object. What is the reason you have entered into the law? Is it to sell a house? Is it to sell certain goods or properties? No. You have entered into the contract the object is forbidden by law. Let's say I'm dealing with drugs. Let's look at the example over there. X borrows 1 lakh rupees from Mr. Y. What is the object over there? To smuggle goods. Now, is that lawful? Is that legal in the eyes of the law? No, it is illegal. Smuggling of goods or piracy, okay, or dealing with drugs, etc. All these are against the law of India. Therefore, any contract entered with the object being illegal or unlawful, the contract is going to be illegal contract. Therefore, the main purpose of the agreement is illegal. Hope you have understood the 6 types of agreements or contracts based on validity. Valid contract, void contract, void agreements, voidable contracts, unenforceable contract, illegal contract. The third one or the last classification here is based on the performance. Now first we looked at how the contract is going to form or come into picture. Second, we looked at the validity of the contract. Now on the last we are going to look at the performance of the contract. The first one is executed contract. When the contract is wholly performed by the parties. Example, Mr. Y promised to sell furniture to Mr. Z and also Mr. Z paid rupees 10,000. So whatever contract here is. Now I am promising to sell you my computer for 25,000 rupees. Okay. So I sell my computer and you pay me rupees 25,000. It is executed. The contract has been completed or executed. So whatever I promised to do from my end, as one party have completed my obligation and the other party by paying the money has completed his obligation. So contract is what? Executed. There is absolutely nothing illegal, nothing unlawful here. It is executed or executory contract. The second one, based on the performance, is executory. As the name itself says, there is something yet to complete, to be completed or to be executed. That is the meaning of executory. Let's look at the meaning. The obligation of the parties are to be performed at a later time. Okay, so at the time of entering into the contract, both the parties are yet due to perform their obligations. That is the meaning of executory contracts. Now there are 2 types of executory. First one, unilateral. Unilateral, as the name itself says, what unilateral means? One person, one-sided. Okay, here one party has already performed his duty at the time or before forming the contract. Please note this word. He has performed his duty when? Before the contract is signed or at the time of signing of the contract, one party has completed his duty. Hence, it is called as one-sided contract or contracts with executed consideration. Okay, let's look at the example over here. Most of your insurance contracts, okay, the offeree pays a premium specified by the insurer to maintain the plan and receive an insurance allotment if a specified event occurs. Now, why do we all take insurance? To cover up risk or to cover up future risk. It's not that we want to face some risk, but in case there is a risk in the future days, right? It can be car insurance, life insurance, vehicle insurance, motor insurance, etc. Why am I taking insurance for my vehicle? Because there is a possibility in case if I'm going to meet with an accident, right? I'm going to incur a lot of damage or loss. So for that reason, I'm going to take up insurance. Now, why is it unilateral here? At the formation of the contract, when I'm signing the insurance document itself, should I start paying my EMI or should I start paying my premium amount? Yes. But will the other party perform, the insurance company, their duty? No. Until the event occurs, the party is not going to complete his or her obligation. So that is the example of unilateral contract. So I am going to start performing my duty right at the formation of my contract, but the other party, that is the insurance company, it will take time to execute the contract based on the event that has to occur. That is, it can be accident. In case of life insurance, it can be death. The last one, bilateral contract. Now your third one, what we looked at, one person has performed the duty, the other person is yet to perform. Here in bilateral, both the parties, okay, bilateral means two, both, where the duty of both the parties are outstanding. That means what, they are yet to perform at the time of the formation of the contract. It is also known as contracts with executors consideration. Let's look at the example. Mr. A agrees to sell goods at certain price to Mr. B at a future date. Now in this contract, if you can observe, the obligations of both the parties are outstanding at the time of formation of contract. So right when I am signing the contract, Mr. A, Mr. B, both of them are yet to perform their duties. Both of them are yet to fulfill their promises. A might still have to grow certain crops in the maybe in 3 months or 4 months time, and B has to pay for that only after the goods have been ready for disposal. Got it? So both A and B are yet to perform their duties or promises. Therefore, it is called as bilateral contract, where the duties of both the parties are outstanding at the time of formation of the contract. Hope you have understood. This completes the classification of contract. I'll just go through once. So there are three types: validity, formation and performance. Starting with formation, we have three: express, implied, quasi. Express is I express through words or through written document. Implied is both the parties are not going to communicate at all, but it is understood by law. Number three, quasi contract. No parties are intended to create a contract, but the law imposes without offer and acceptance to form the contract. Type 2 is based on validity or enforceability. We have 6 types under validity. Number 1 is valid, where all the elements of the contract belong to the Act, Indian Contract Act. Number 2 is void contract. It is void, reason being, number 1, it is impossible to perform, and subsequent illegality. Number 3 is void agreements. Any agreements with the minor is termed as void. Number 4, voidable contracts. That is, it is an agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one of parties of the contract. That is, your consent was taken by force or by fraudulent activities. Number 5, unenforceable. It is valid at the first point, but subsequently, due to technical difficulty, the contract becomes unenforceable. Number 6, illegal. The object of the contract itself is illegal or against the law or unlawful. These are the 6 types under the validity of contract. The last one is based on performance. Here we have 4 types. Executed contract, where both the parties have wholly performed the duties. Type 2 is executory. That means they are yet to perform. One case is...
Excuse me, ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Hello?
Tell me.
Can you please go back to the first slide? The executive based on performance, yeah. Based on performance, ma'am.
Yes.
Here, executed contract is there, ma'am. There, Mr. Y is promising to sell the furniture and the other party is paying him, isn't it? What if the furniture is an insurance? Like, he has to, instead of selling the furniture, the Mr. Y has to go and, if anything occurs, he has to go and check the services. Then will that be called a wholly performed party?
No,
Or
see,
contract?
see here it says promise to sell, or he has sold the furniture. Now, if there is any technical difficulties with insurance, or the furniture is a what I would say is a damaged furniture, etc. Now, if that is the condition, then it will still be an executory. Now, he has to fix the furniture and then only offer it or sell it to Mr. Z. So until the furniture is in a good condition, which Mr. Z is accepting to purchase it, then only it will become a executed contract.
Okay, otherwise it will be wholly performed.
Yes, if there is no difficulties, if there's no challenges, the X and Mr. Y and Z are agreeing to the same terms in the same sense, then it becomes executed.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.